Hi everybody, this is Michelle Strauss from the Capital Area College Access Network. I am introducing you today to our College Positive Mentor Training. We conducted this a couple of weeks ago with Jonathan Rosewood, who is one of our former college advisors, our CPV expert here in the community, and now part of the diversity and inclusion staff at Lansing Community College. We want you to have some basic information to be able to share with the students that you may work with or those in your family that you may be mentoring about the college process. It's really important for us to have the same information, the same language that we speak to students, and to reinforce one another as we are talking with them about their futures. So we hope you enjoyed this presentation, and feel free to reach out to us with any questions that you might have, and the contact information is at the end of the video. Thanks, and have a great day.
The college advisor in Detroit at Detroit Osborne High School, where I loved it. I appreciated it. I did that for 1 year, and then I moved back to Lansing, where I started my family, and I met Michelle, and I just took over and ran with the opportunities that she gave me to become a college advisor here in the Lansing area at Everett, and then Wilson Talent Center, then Wood Creek Achievement Center. And I've been helping with K-12 higher ed for the past, what year is this? 2020, 8 years. I have a passion for young people. I have a passion for people, period. But young people really make me happy, and they just motivate me to be better. So, and that we don't force any of our ideologies on them. Ooh, ideology, that's the college. All right, turn the face for me. All right, so today we're gonna talk a little bit, it's 7:08. So I just want you to understand what we're doing. So we got part one, what are the CPM and college access? So we'll talk about that, college positive mentor. Part two is being a college positive volunteer. And then part three is how you pay for school, right? All right, so the goals, I want you just to understand what it means to be an ambassador of higher education as you serve in the communities, right? And then also that you are a resource, not an expert, okay? I've been doing this for 8 years and I still don't know everything. Andrea will tell you, I have to hit her up. Hey, Andrea, how do I do this? How do I make sure to do this? Or Michelle, how do I make sure, am I doing this right? Am I talking to the counselors right? Am I talking to the principals right? Making sure that I'm on the same page that everyone else is. And then being comfortable, right? Having conversations with youth about post-secondary options after high school. You gotta be comfortable with talking and telling your experiences, all right? Because everybody does not have the same experiences, and we just wanna make sure that we can share it openly, that good, bad, ugly, some things that you wouldn't do, some things that you would do, all over again. You gotta be ready to share that. And then also we be comfortable navigating the CPV toolkit and website. So you will get that information near the end of this presentation, okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? All right, let's get it moving. So a CPV is a person who is aware of how they impact the college readiness and enthusiasm of the youth they interact with as they volunteer in local communities, okay? So you all work with youth in this community in some type of fashion, whether it's a college advisor, whether it's working in the community centers, whether it's working on the college campus, whether it's working for the nonprofits. You work with students and you're trying to help them be successful and do something with their lives that's positive, right? So we just want to make sure that we're setting you up and giving you the tools that you have to be able to do that, okay? You can turn. Thank you. What is college access? So it's encouraging and helping K-12 students consider and plan for and attend post-secondary institutions after high school, okay? Efforts are often aimed at underrepresented students, especially low-income and first-gen. But students, however, the goal is college access for all, okay? CPV is one of the many college access programs in Michigan. So there are a lot of things. And then, as Michelle said, The CPV started here in Michigan. What was that? What was that, Michelle? Maybe 8, 9 years ago?
About
Maybe.
9 years ago.
There you go. So about 9 years ago, right? That it started because they saw that there was a need, that we wanted to make sure that, listen, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you want it, you can go get it. And we're going to help you get it. We're going to give you the resources that you need to make sure that you have it. And that's why I fell in love with it. And that's why I love the mission and the goals that they have set for it. Because if there wasn't nobody that was in high school that was telling Jonathan, Charles Rosewood, that he can make it, I wouldn't be here talking to you today. So that's why I'm making sure that we do the same thing for you all. So therefore, every student that you work with is set up and ready to go. All right. Thanks, Michelle. All right, so here's some benefits. You get to impact the life of K-12 youth. Like we can go home after that. All right. We kind of know that a lot of people don't have those resources or don't have people to look up to be like, hey, Johnny, or hey, Susie, or hey, Juan, yo, you can do it. You can do it. No matter what your family situation is, no matter what you got going on in your community, you can do it. All right, and I'm here to help you. All right, so be a part of a group of students with similar interests. So bringing people together. All right, you might have some people or students that's in the art field. You might have some people that's in that science field, but how can you be able to bring them all together, right? And for one common cause. Help others by paying it forward. I think we already said that with Rachel. Somebody paid it forward in her life, and now look, she's back and trying to pay it forward to so many young people. Have new experiences, address the needs in your community, fight poverty by promoting education, and then develop and or strengthening new skills, right? All good things and good benefits of being a CPM. And this is what you all will be doing. All right, so like I said, we talked about the term college. College just does not mean going to a four-year institution, all right? It's a part of it. You can go to a four-year college. You can go to a community junior college. You can go to the VOTEC, tech careers, business schools, get certificates. CAPCAN, they look at the military. And if you can, I look at AmeriCorps as an opportunity for students at high school to go on and get some education trainings. So with that being said, either you can use the chat or you can just press unmute, but what are some definitions of college that you may use other than the ones right here?
Any type of training after high school, whatever it is, whether it is an apprenticeship, maybe internship, that goes along with these.
I love it. I love it. Anybody else? Perfect. Thank you. So, and if I may, my mistake when I first started as a college advisor, I was like, you got to go to college. You got to go to college. And as I grew into this field, I realized, listen, everybody is not cut out for that four-year institution. Everybody may not be ready to go to that two-year college, but they might have a skill that sometimes people haven't tapped into. I had young people that were able to work on cars, which I can't do. They were able to work on cars and get my stuff to work. And I'm like, yo, why weren't we developing these skills while you were in middle school, high school, so you can be making this money, right? So being able to have these real conversations and say, hey, what are you good at? Actually, skip what are you good, what are you great at? What do you want to learn? What do you love to do? And let's set our young people up for the future and make sure that they're doing what they love to do, so therefore they can keep doing it, they can make their money, and that they can take care of their families. Because that's what it's all about. All right. So if you got more things, you can definitely put it in the chat. So the mindset, college is attainable for everyone. Everybody can go do something once they leave high school. And we got to be able to tell these young people that listen, you can do it. I'll help you. So if you have to get some help, I know for myself, I wasn't from the Lansing area. So I didn't know all the resources offhand like I may have did in Detroit. So what I had to do, I had to reach out to people. Hey, Michelle, or hey, Mindy, who was a counselor at the Talent Center. I have a student who was interested in, I don't know, internet design, computer gaming design, right? How can I help set them up? Do you know anybody that may be able to mentor them, talk to them, tell them about their experiences, and then help them develop what they need to get developed, right? Like I said, I'm not an expert. We are what? Good question. We're not experts, we're what?
Resources.
Boom, if I have some candy, you'll get some candy. That's what I'm talking about. We're resources, not experts. So it's okay not to know everything, okay? Just know that you have people that's on your team, on your squad, that can help you get to where you need to go. So as a CPM, I am willing to do whatever I didn't get to read it, but it's okay. You're willing to do whatever you can to help your students, okay? Oh, thanks. I can to help K-12 youth prepare for and enroll in college. So that's our goal, just to help them. Go ahead, Michelle. All right, so our motto. So let me ask you something. Hey, Andrea, how you doing today?
Ryan?
Oh, no, that's fine. Yeah, I'll go with you, Andrea Ryan. Hey, Andrea Ryan. Hey, are you going to college?
Right now?
Say you were in high school, okay?
Oh. I'm not sure. Like I've been kind of thinking about it, but I'm still on the fence.
On the fence? Okay. All right. So how about I ask you this? Where are you going to college, and then how can I help you get there?
Okay, so basically I am going to college, it sounds like. Let's see. I mean, I guess I would kind of like to go to Olivet. I heard they have some nice programs there. And I just don't even know where to start.
Oh, see? So Andrea, I got you. We got people that's at Olivet. You got to just tell me, what are you interested in? What do you love to do? Do you like a small setting? Do you like large settings? What you like?
Yeah, I kind of like a small setting. That way, I can have more one-on-one with a teacher if I need it or something like that. I've been kind of interested in like a nursing program or something in like a healthcare field. And I'm not sure about, more than 2 years, maybe like a certificate or something.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing. And Andrea, see, now that I know that you want to go to Olivet, and now I know how I can help you, I'm going to introduce you to Angela Terry, who has scholarships to Olivet.
Sweet.
Boom.
Bingo.
Boom. So y'all see how that kind of works? You kind of get your students to open up to you, and you get to learn a little bit more about them in that small conversation. I think that was like 30 seconds, right? And I got to know, okay, Andrea likes small settings. She wants to go into nursing. She likes the one-on-one attention, and she might want to get away. Now I know I got to connect. Oh, Andrea, I got a student that's wonderful. She's ready to apply. Can you help her with scholarships? Right? So we just got to be able to have conversations with young people and allow them to express themselves and let them tell us what they like and what they love and what they want to do. All right? Are there any questions before I move on? Anybody want to try with me? Okay, cool. All right, so I heard today my boss, she said, Jonathan, the reason why I'm on you all so much because we got to have numbers, right? We got to have numbers. It doesn't matter how much you help people. People always want to see some numbers. Well, here goes some numbers. We got 48.9% of Ingham and 40.2% of Eaton counties working adults, right? So that's the age of 25 to 64. I'm in that gap. I may not look old, but I'm pretty up there, right? Hold at least a 2-year degree And this compares to the national average of a 47.6% and 45.5% in Michigan. All right, so our counties are doing a little bit better than the national average as well as the state of Michigan. But 70% of Michigan jobs will require post-secondary education. Okay, so for our young people to be able to get the jobs that they need, they have to go on and get some training. But my question is to you all, and anybody can answer, how can we help our young people get these jobs if they don't like school?
I have a question. When you talk about the post-secondary education, are you considering anything after 12th grade? So that's like a certificate from LCC. It could be an associate's degree. It could be like a journeyman card for an electrical, like all sorts of stuff, right? I just want to make sure I understand what the 70%
There you go,
is
Margot.
before I
Yes.
comment.
Yeah, no, there you go, Margot. You got it.
So being that we are a career and tech ed center, both Ingham and Eaton have those, I think one big thing is to get rid of the stigma that kids going to these centers is it's not something that smart kids do. And really for most of our classes, kids are getting college credit while they're enrolled in these career and tech ed courses. So if a kid wants auto, they are coming to our program in the 11th or 12th grade year and saying, oh, wow, I really like this. I want to continue this. And they've already started on that path. So when they're done, if they do our 2-year program, they have a certificate from LCC and they have some like certifications from the state that are student certifications. And then they can continue if they choose at LCC and they're already started. And I see Andrea just posted, there's tons of dual enrollment options. So like, I agree, there's just, I think a lot of times people don't know about these or know what they are.
Yes. Nice. Margot, you hit it right there. So basically you're saying allowing them to be exposed to different opportunities.
Yeah, and in CTE, we say, if you know this is something you don't want, that's just as good as knowing it is something that you do want. Because then you're not going to school to be a nurse and realizing halfway through, oh my God, I can't stand blood.
I just want to echo that because I have a niece that when she was a sophomore in high school, she had the opportunity to go to Wilson Talent Center from the school she was at. And that stigma attached to career centers just is something that totally needs to go away. So Margot, we gotta help everybody, help them know there's so many amazing options for them that are not, there shouldn't be something attached to that it means that they're not the smart kids or, you know, they're the students that aren't going to college or whatever it is, because those opportunities are so important. And she didn't go because of the stigma attached to it when she really wanted to check out to see if she wanted to be, do the cosmetology. So such a bummer. And I tried with her. I don't know if I had the right tools. So hopefully this is going to help me.
Okay. So Andrea and Margot, I appreciate you all for sharing. And that's important to tackle tonight, because we got to get rid of some barriers. Me being a young African-American male, and raised in Detroit, I wish that our schools kind of prepared us and allowed us to try like different trades or get into find our ways. And I've noticed that they didn't do that. So there were a lot of us that went through high school, going through, oh, hello, Andres. There was a lot of people that was going through high school that were in different curriculums that they had no idea that they were supposed to be in or that they wanted to be in. Myself, I was talking to a friend last night. I was in the music curriculum in high school. I never practiced my music. I performed my 12th grade year. Like I wasn't even engaged in it and I still was in it. And I felt now that now I'm like a jack of all trade, but I'm not a master of anything. So I think if we can, and I think that's something that we should start working on, trying to break that barrier, because there's so many people that's like me that don't know that these opportunities exist, that they're really good at maybe using their hands. They're good at using their minds, but nobody has ever introduced them to them. So that's one way that we can help. Write that down, Michelle. That's one way that we can get to this Michigan goal of 60% by 2030. That's only 10 years from now. But if we start being honest with people, right? We stop saying that 4 year is the only way. Thank you. We can do it. We can do it. And somebody said, I'm the master at this. Yes, but I had to figure out what I'm good at. I had to figure out what I love to do and where my heart is and where my passion is. And I don't think that's happening enough. So if we can get to this Michigan goal is 60% by 2030, it's going to be because we got to have heart and passion, and our young people have to have their heart and passion too. All right. Great conversation. Go ahead. All right. So benefits of college education. I had this conversation last night too. I went to college because they said I was going to be making money. They said I was going to be making money. I'm employed. I'm employed. Thank you. Thank you. But am I making the money that I want to make? Right? I still got to pay these bills. I still got to pay these loans off. And I think that's the conversation that we have to start having with our young people. Listen, debt is real. Debt is real. Did I have to go to Michigan State and pay all that money? No. I could have went to Wayne County Community College. I could have went to Wayne State and stayed at home with my parents. But I wanted to go away. So in that case, we got to be able to talk to our students. Okay, yep, you're going to be employed. You may have a higher income than some people that graduate from high school, but that's not always guaranteed, especially when we start looking at the numbers for different people that's in skilled trades and everything. It's a different thing. You might have a greater workforce mobility. Yes, we all can go and work in different areas. And that's one thing that I do appreciate about going off to college and leaving that 12th grade, that if I wanted to move to South Carolina, I can move to South Carolina and have a job today. I love that. Have better health and longer life expectancy. Okay. I know in college, I always tell my students the real too. They always say, hey, Mr. Rosewood, did you party in college? I did. That was one of my reasons for going. That was one of my reasons for going, but I want them to know that. Like, I have to be transparent with them so that they know, oh, Rosewood, you're just not a stuck-up person. No, I'm a real person. All right? Raise children that will attend college. That's why I love that you all opened up this morning. I mean, not this morning, this evening, telling your stories. Because some of you already said, oh, my parents and grandparents said, oh, you're going to school. So that they already put that in your mind. So imagine you doing the same thing for your children. So like my kids, they're going to be doing something after 12th grade. I have a 12-year-old and I have a 6-year-old, and they already know we're not just going to be sitting on our butts. We're going to be going to get some training once we leave high school. Be civically engaged, that's coming up November 3rd. If you're not registered to vote, go get registered to vote. But if you look at it, if you go to college or whatnot, people talk about voting. People talk about advocating. People talk about fundraising. You start hearing these words, and then you get engaged in the community service and charitable giving. So that's how I met Michelle. That's how I met a lot of you, through giving back. So these are just some benefits that students can get from moving on and going off to college. All right. Do you see anything else you might add to that? If not, just put it in the chat. Okay. Thank you. All right, so let's address some barriers. Academic prep, ACT, we know testing is a barrier. Everybody can't test. I can't test. As you all know, I got a 16 on the ACT, and I took it 3 times, and it didn't get any better. I hate tests. I remember in kindergarten, I was supposed to test to go to a school in Detroit. Couldn't test well. But I could tell you, I can write it, but I can't test. Study habits, school attendance. I was in school every day. Love school. I love the people. But my study habits, I didn't grow those until my senior year in college. High school, I didn't really have to study. I should have studied, but I was focused on other things besides studying, right? College knowledge, applying. Somebody said, I didn't even know that I needed to apply. I love Robin. Robin said, I only applied to one school. And that's because they came to me, right? So thank God Michigan State came to CT, and Robin was able to break down the barrier, right? Just going right into the gym, probably using the old cast tag too, right, Robin? So taking it, going into the gym, signing up, oh, you're here. That's beautiful. Visiting colleges, majors. A lot of people can't visit college. So right now, and I know we have somebody on here from Davenport. I have a question. Jenny, and maybe you can answer this for us. During this COVID time, it's a barrier. We can't get to you, right? How is your institution helping students see what you have to offer?
Well, one thing during the pandemic, a lot of testing has been halted. So this is a great time for students who don't test well, because we're looking at other options rather than testing. And I think nationally, you're hearing more and more about different colleges and universities steering away from testing because they're realizing it presents barriers to many students. We offer, virtual meetings, anything that, I meet with students virtually over the phone. Many students, and I work with a lot of people who have to come in, and we're open. So we're meeting with people face to face, but a lot of folks are just scared, and, they need to get familiar and comfortable with a setting before they can see themselves in it. And so, a number of new students this year before we started had to come in multiple times just to know where their classroom was and to know where the library is, because they felt like they could get lost even at our small school. And so really I look at what does that student need to feel comfortable to make a good decision. But I think the testing issue is nationally, people are looking at it. And maybe if you can't take the test, we're looking at the high school GPA or references or different other things that give a better picture of a student, rather than I had a bad day when I don't test well. And I just think it's so not right to look at that one thing, when you're making a decision about a school.
Wow, I love it. I love it. See, we got to remove barriers. This year, I run a program at LCC. It's called Men About Progress. And I kind of been kicking around 2 things, knocking down or kicking down the barriers, because my goal is to make sure that they're successful when they come to me, right? And make sure that they graduate and have their career planned out, ready to go. So we're about to knock down some barriers. So whatever we can remove out of our student situations, we're going to knock that out. I know for me, we had fee waivers. And those fee waivers saved my parents from giving me that $60, $50, however much they cost to apply. I applied to 3 schools, right? So that would have been 60 times 3, that's 120, 180. That would have been $180 for 3 schools just to apply to. So if I didn't have those fee waivers to remove those barriers, I probably would have been at home, right? So just removing them out the way, FAFSA, loans, scholarships, yep. FAFSA is no joke. I can tell how that's a barrier once you got to go on and sign up for the ID number, and then you get logged out and you got to go, you get frustrated.
Right.
You're like, but if you have somebody that's right there with you, hey, Dries, I got you. I'm not going, you can stay right there. Hey, Dries, I got you. I'm gonna work with you. Even if I can't sit next to you one-on-one, hey, we can Zoom, we can WebEx. I got you.
Yep.
And as long as people know that someone has their back.
Absolutely. I was going to say too, even with the fee waivers,
Mhm.
just because a school may not publicize it doesn't mean that you can't ask. Sometimes they're just waiting for someone to say, hey, I have a problem with the fee. Can I negotiate it or something? And they'll be like, sure, let's just waive the fee. You know, so it never hurts to ask these things. It's the same with financial aid. You know, this really isn't enough to help me make the decision. Can I talk about some other options? And they're like, oh, sure. Okay. Why don't you write an essay and we'll enter you to win another scholarship or something. It's just taking it to the next step and asking those questions.
Beautiful. So if you all are looking at the chat and people are in here going, I love it, I love it. Rachel posted some virtual college tours that you can access. All right, so we're trying to remove these barriers. I love Marin gave us a situation that at MSU, they set up tents for people to sign up for absentee ballots. That was helpful, right? So let's remove these barriers. We got you. All right, so understanding your students. Understanding your students. Each youth you encounter may have different experiences and viewpoints. Many youth are categorized as at risk. And if you all have different terms, you can let me know and we can change it. Sometimes they're dealing with substance abuse, domestic violence, homelessness. I know I dealt with that a lot by students couch surfing. That was very new to me, and I will call out my privilege that I was blessed to have like both parents in the household that could take care of us. And I was very privileged and honored for that. But once I became an advisor and I saw that everyone didn't have that, that touched my heart and that touched my soul. And it made me feel emotional and just try to figure out, oh man, that's why I need you to, that's why I'm helping you right now to help you get to college. Not for a year, but I got to find you somewhere where you can live safely. You don't have to worry about nothing. All you got to do is focus on what you want to do. So teen parents, sexual abuse, health issues, gang involvement. Is there anything else that you all see that you might want to add to this list?
COVID, the pandemic, impacts a lot of different students in various ways.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Rachel.
It exacerbates a lot of these, issues.
Huge. Thank you, Rachel. So we can add that to the list, Michelle. Are there any more? If not, it's okay. You can put in.
I think demands of home affect them. Some people have to take on certain responsibilities at home that's tugging at their want to go to college or their even their desires. They say, okay, it's more important for me to take care of this than to take care of this. So I think that's.
Thank you. No, Glenn, you hit it right on the mark. You hit it, man. But peer pressure, somebody said peer pressure, but no, you hit it right on the mark, because I did, when I was an advisor in the school, we had brilliant students. Well, not brilliant, but they wouldn't come to school. And once they come, I'm like, yo, what's up? Why you ain't been here? Well, bro, I had to take care of my younger siblings so my mom could go to work, or I had to make sure the house was secure. I had to make sure and I'm like, man, you like 17 years old. Like I'm 32 and I'm just doing that and you doing that now. And that's a real situation that these young people have to go through. And I love that. Somebody said lack of childcare issues. Yes. Peer pressure. Yes. So we got any more? Any more?
How about
We're going to add you
struggling?
to the list.
How about struggling with mental health issues?
Can you go deeper in that a little bit for me?
Like depression.
And I think a lot of times with that is sometimes not even recognizing the existence of that mental health issue. And so just, I guess, a mentor being able to recognize that and maybe bring forth some resources that they can use to deal with some of those issues, because a lot of people don't recognize it, you know.
That's deep. Somebody learning disabilities, bipolar, that's what we needed right there. So we have to, some people like to look at the numbers, grades, test scores and everything, but we're going to look at the whole person. What you got going on in your life and how can we help you? How can we get those resources for you, like Glenn said, right? Because those, if we can handle those, help you handle those, everything else should be golden, right? So I hope Michelle or Rachel, you got those down, because we're going to add those to the list, 2020 edition, all right? You can turn for me. All right, so I asked you all, I had a question and I said I would come back to it. As my question is, how can you use your experience to encourage youth to attend college? And I'll do three to four people. How can you use your experience to encourage youth to attend college?
I think my college experience, mainly because with my first year of college, I've dealt with a lot of stepping outside of my comfort zone. 18-year-old kid coming from Detroit, going to the west side of Michigan. Then it was much different than coming from the big city. I mean, I got over there and I saw my first deer. I saw my first raccoon. You know, these things were like, what? A raccoon is just walking up to the door here? You know, what's going on here? So it was so different that I was almost ready to go back home. But I toughed it out. So using that experience and getting connected with different people of same values helped me through it, and then just persevering through it all. So using that experience, I think could connect with some people, because going to any college could be stepping out of your comfort zone, could be a culture shock, so to speak. So just utilizing that, I think.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. I see, I'm watching the chat too, JM. I think that's Jenny, showing them how our experience has applied to our life. That's huge. That's huge. I for one, Glenn is probably, that's one of my older brothers, and he said it maybe a few months ago. He said, Jonathan, he said, you're totally different from when you were in high school. I mean, when you were in college, right? But that's only because I learned from my experiences in college to carry me over now. So now I'm not going to do the same silly things or go through the same trials and tribulations that I did before, because I already learned from those, right?
Thank God.
Yeah. I'll listen, Glenn. I'll listen. All right. And one more person. Maybe a college advisor. I haven't heard from you. I haven't heard. Oh. Give me one college advisor.
I guess I would talk about like, I'm so happy and proud of myself for like continuing to pursue a post-secondary education, because I wasn't sure if I'd ever get there, and I knew I always wanted to go, but I wasn't sure if I would get there, and it has just been, it's changed my life, and I'm so passionate about it. I guess that's what I would try to convey to the students, how helpful it has been for me, and just how much more confident I am. And I just love it so much.
I love it. Thank you. Thank you. And Jenny put in the chat the fantastic opportunity to study what you want and recreate yourself. I love that. A lot of people recreated themselves. Robin, I love what you said. Illness doesn't have to stop you. Yes. So with this, if you haven't heard anything, like share your story. I share my story often. I tell my students, look, man, I tell my students my story. I had my son when I was 20 years old, in college. I always wanted kids, but I didn't know it was coming so soon. And I always tell them once my son came, how my life kind of changed. So I had him in school, but I had to still go to class. I started working because I knew I had to start taking care of things. So I started working multiple jobs. All my frat brothers and friends, they would be going to Florida and Mexico, and I'm still here in Lansing working as for the IPF as a custodian. You know, just trying to make that money, just so make sure that we're good. You know, and it took a toll on me. And I wasn't afraid to go back and tell my students that, because the life that I was living in college, right, the students were kind of living in high school. And I was just trying to let them know, look, don't rush. You don't have to rush this thing. Like, take your time, because we got plenty of time for all the extra activities. Just focus on you and your passion and your career. And then once it's time for you to have a family, you're ready for it. So I kind of just give my testimony with them, and I'm not afraid to be vulnerable with them. I'm not afraid to open up with them. I'm not afraid to cry with them. I'm not afraid to yell at them. I yell at my students, please forgive me, but sometimes they need it. I'm not afraid to do those things, because I know if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? And that's my motto. And I think, and I'm very blessed to be in this position, because Michelle would just like, go ahead. Wendy would be like, go ahead. When I was at Everett, they was like, go ahead. You know what I mean? But once you step into these doors and get into these young people's lives, and they say that you're real, and they see that you're passionate and that you're there for them, it's golden. It's golden. So thank you for connecting with the students, and thank you for connecting with the group, everybody. All right. You can turn the page. All right. So we don't know what we don't know. So like I said, I'm not going to read these things. These are different topics that students may ask you when they come in. Don't be afraid that if you don't know, hey, let me check my toolkit, because we got definitions in there, and we can help you out with that, right? Sometimes they want to know, is it a private versus public? What's the difference? Excuse me, GPA, financial aid, things of that nature. So just be ready. You can always read up on the information in the toolkits, because we'll give you that. And then you got me. You got a lot of us that can help you through this. Okay? Cool. All right. So we are not experts, but we are
Resources.
Yeah, there we go. All right, I got to make sure that y'all awake. See, that's how you do it online. You got to make sure people are alive. All right, so we act as role models. We provide resources, help motivate. So if you're not good, if you're not a motivator, that's cool. You know how to use YouTube and find some things that can help motivate and connect with your students, right? Offer support and guidance, share experiences. And if you don't know how to connect with them, reach out and we can figure that out, okay? CPMs don't give all the answers. Why? Because we're not experts. I can't give you all the answers if I don't know it. I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? Make judgment, try to persuade or know it all. So I know when I went back to Detroit, a lot of people was like, oh, are you gonna try to get everybody to go to Michigan State? No. No. That's not my goal. My goal is to make sure that they're set up to be successful and not to go up one semester, then come back home. That's not my job. My job is to help them be able to provide for their families. If we can make sure that people that are around us are not doing that and just making sure that our students are set up to succeed, we got something going. We got something going. So that's just my 2 cents. Don't try to recruit for your school, you know what I mean? Because everybody does not fit that. But just make sure that they're set up for the future, make sure that they're successful. All right. What we got? What's that? All right. So what are some things that you want to do before you become a mentor? You want to be prepared, okay? Because young people they're smart. They're smart. You want to be professional. You want to be introspective, a positive role model. You want to listen. You want to listen. And I found that to be one of the biggest things that has helped me, just listening. Because like Andrea said earlier, some people may want to be a doctor, and then you sit there and listen, and then you end up that they're really passionate in music, and they got songs out on Spotify, or they know how to use their social media very well and YouTube, and like, you sure you want to be a doctor when you know? So just listen, because if you listen, you'll figure out some things. I learned that in relationships as well. It's the same thing. If you're listening, you will hear some things that either is an alarm, or that they can go into. So, and then follow up. Okay, follow up. So I would love to hear, because I know we have people on the line that starting new programs. We have people on the line that are running programs. I want to know, during this time, during COVID, how would you follow up with students that you don't see on a face-to-face basis? How are you doing that?
Email, phone calls, and soon to be mailings, making web pages more user-friendly and updated with accurate information, virtual meetings with the help of CapCan, thank you, and virtual events.
Okay. Okay. Oh, nice. Very nice. Very nice. Anybody else? Very nice. No? Okay. I love that. Thank you for sharing. I hope you all jotted that down and try to take those resources. I know, excuse me, for myself, we were doing emails, and our college students weren't really looking at them. So what I had to do, I had to just start calling them, leaving voicemails. I sent texts. If you use the Remind app, that's very helpful, because you can put everybody on that Remind and just send like notices out to them. So therefore they're going to see it and everything. Okay, okay, no problem, Michelle. So let's go ahead and switch to the next slide. All right, paying for college. All right. So in these 5 minutes, we're going to go ahead and talk about how people pay for college. It's listed right there. Sometimes some people have family members that could pay for college. Some people got to take out scholarships, which is free. Sometimes you have to apply for it. Sometimes they come from your grades. Sometimes they come from your gifts and talents. Grants, which we do with the financial aid. You can get grants from the federal government that will help you pay for school. That Pell Grant was very helpful. Some students had to work and pay for college. So we definitely tell students, hey, you can get a job on campus. They let you work at least to 25 hours a week, right? You have options. But once you do that, you want to make sure that you're setting them up to what? Be successful. So you want to make sure that if you get a job, you need to go ahead and get you a calendar, put it on your schedule, Put your classwork on your schedule. Put when you got to go to class on your schedule. If you're going to go on a date, you need to put that on the schedule. You know what I mean? You got to be real with them. I think that's the best thing. You got to be real. The federal, state financial aid. So I know if you look in the chat, Rachel put up information for the FAFSA as well as the toolkit and the scholarship information that's CapCan has. So therefore, you can share with your students. You got the state and federal loans and private loans. So with the state and federal loans, you got to fill out the financial aid for that. So you definitely want to make sure that you can get the families of the students on the same page. For anybody that is a veteran or has worked with the FAFSA and had to work with parents, can you give maybe some best practices of how you had to do that? Get the parents to fill out the financial aid for their students? Best practices.
Well, that might be me, I guess. So one of the things I think we have to do is we have to start earlier to talk with families about financial aid. We can't just wait to do it the night that they fill out the FAFSA form, because that's stressful and people are freaking out about, you know, having their tax information. But I think families also need to recognize that the other resources like work study, scholarships, even institutional money comes because families fill out the FAFSA. And if you may not be eligible for federal stuff, but chances are you're eligible for at least work study and a loan, right? A subsidized loan. But if they recognize that all the other resources that come from the college are also connected to them filling out the FAFSA, then they can't give you the excuse of, well, I make too much money, it's not going to make a difference. Well, you know, that's probably not true. But for the families that we primarily focus on, low-income families, it's reassuring them that this information is, you know, private. Obviously, the federal government already has your tax information. It's not something that we're going to share with everybody. So, you know, you've got to just figure out your audience and what message is going to make the most sense to them as you work with them.
Perfect. Okay. Michelle, you can go, you probably can skip over all the definition parts because we kind of know that, but, and we'll make sure that you all get this presentation because it's 7:59. I want to make sure that I let you out at 8. But we kind of went through all of this information for the funds. And if you need more information about it, me and Michelle are here. If you need to stay on a little longer and talk about it. But we at least got through the parts of being a mentor, what it means. And I just wanted to know, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns?
I'd just be curious if you've seen any big changes or just, you know, due to COVID, or even, you know, how this environment has changed as a result of our current situation.
Michelle, you want to take that? I mean, just the situation period, it's different. By me, I work at LCC. And a lot of the things that we did in our office, the diversity, equity, and inclusion, we always had a lot of different type of programming, which we would get like 20 people, 30 people. But now we're online and we're finding it a little difficult to get those numbers and try to reach out to people by us doing, of course, we do the social media and everything, but it's like, man, it's not the same, right? I found out that a lot of our students, even by me doing my cold calls, they kind of have issues and those barriers of getting online to try to figure out, oh, the Star Zone is not open. How can I get in contact with the Star Zone to help me fill out my financial aid? Or this foundation office, how do I make sure to turn in the scholarship? Or shoot, I need tutoring. Where do I need to go? And it's like, man, y'all not reading y'all emails. So it's kind of literally that we kind of gotta
Right.
walk them virtually to the offices, right? So I say, hey, come on, Gary, I got you. Come on this WebEx. I'm gonna go ahead and chat with somebody that's in the tutoring services. Hey, is it okay if we get on the WebEx and me, you, and Gary get introduced to one another? So I found out that it's kind of like a lot of holding hands, and I'm okay with that because I'm trying to remove any barriers for them.
Right.
But I'm finding myself that they have, even though they may use social media, Facebook, Instagram, and all that, I realized once we got to WebEx or Zoom, they didn't really know how to use it. So that was kind of the difference that I saw, and I had assumptions that everybody would be able to use these tools. We have the brains, but I was wrong. So that's just some of the things that I saw. And I don't know what it's like on the high school level anymore. So somebody else will have to answer that.
Well, I think the same thing is true at the high school level. Students are still learning new technologies. There's a lot of problems accessing internet or accessing enough devices so that every kid in the family has a device. And I think, at high school level, students don't always know or want to ask for help. They try to, figure things out on their own, or they're embarrassed. And so teaching kids how to, do self-advocacy at this stage is really hard to teach them when we're all virtual.
Right.
I think, like Andrea was listing off all the different ways she's communicating with kids, we have to try everything because we don't know which one is going to work for which kid.
Right. Right.
Yep. So,
I guess ultimately, I think COVID has just, unfortunately, just added a huge different barrier to even getting this message out.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing, obviously a lot more social media. And as you guys probably know, we've done a lot of videos over the last 6 months. We now have over 45 videos that our college advisors and partners have produced with little, very short snippets of information to share for students to whet their appetite, but at least to stay connected with them and try and link them to resources as we continue to help them as best we can.
all right. Any more questions, comments, concerns?
I'll just
Okay.
probably
Go
make
ahead.
a couple quick reminders for people. October is College Month, so it's when we really kick off all of our application season, and the FAFSA opens up on October 1st.
Right.
The college advisors, two of whom, Sophia and Marin, who you saw tonight, are two of our team of 9 advisors in 13 schools. And if you are working with a student at the high school level and they need college advising support, just send us an email at CapCan and we will get them connected with their college advisor and set up virtual meetings for them to work through whatever they need to work through. And we will be, of course, expanding our videos on our YouTube channel. So check that out if you've never watched any of our videos. You can do that through our social media. Rachel, our Vista, who is on the call tonight, is staffing all of our social media, and she every week puts out something new. So, follow us on your social media to find out what the latest and greatest is from us.